We're getting close to getting this stripped down. Today I'm going to get the bell housing off, the front cover, and hopefully pull the crank. Cleaner's over here cleaning up his cleaner tank, and it's a good time to do that, but you'll notice he's wearing sweatpants now. It's getting a little chilly out here, so he's going to do a little heavy cleaning outside before the weather starts turning. Buddy's out here exploring every nook and cranny in the shop. Let's get started taking these lock washers off of here on the bell housing. I want to get this bell housing off of here so I can figure out how to get this on an engine stand. We're going to have to make a lot of fold-over locks. Buddy's playing cameraman today. He just sits there right behind the camera. We're not going to get much work done with you sitting up here. There's a pesky one hidden clear up underneath here. All right, Milwaukee. Ooh, that one was kind of loose. These are 15/16. There's our fold-over lock. You like to park right behind the camera, don't you, buddy? Just watch what's going on. It smells like the old Commerce City refinery in there. If you're from Colorado, you know about Commerce City. Cleaner's got his work cut out for him, and yes, I do help the cleaner. We're going to put this pinion back together. These are those bolts I took out. I didn't need to, that were safety wired together. But now that we can get to them, we'll put it back together and safety wire them. We're going to get this cleaned up, pony motor block, and the front cover. I'm just going to take this out of here for good measure. It'll be a little easier to clean up. At this point, I think the wise thing to do is get the crane over here to hold this while I knock it loose. It'll at least keep it from falling. Got the bell housing off of here. I'm going to pull this oiler off of here. And while I'm over here, I might as well take these side covers off of here. We want to get inside of that block and clean it really well. Yucky. Be good to make new gaskets and get this sealed up good. All I got left is this front cover, and you might recall in the last video, I've already taken out most of the bolts back there. At least the ones that I could see that I think would be holding it. Now I can't say for certain that I've got everything loose, but I'm going to give it a couple wraps with the dead blow hammer just to kind of test the waters. And the way that this is mounted underneath of here, the crankshaft should stay with the block and allow this cover to come up. I think I found a sneaky one that I missed right there. Yeah, that one's hidden, tucked back in there, and so is that one. Hopefully that's all I need and that'll pop right off. What a pain. Came outside to check on the cleaner. He's working on the pony motor here. Getting it cleaned up really nice. Looking good, Dad.
1,500 feet?
Yeah, they're high up there. There's two giant groups of them. This is the time of year they migrate, but they're just up there. It's hard to see. They're flying right in the sun from our vantage point. What's that? I also love the old CL logos on this machine. They are cast into a lot of the parts. There's one right there above the block number and the date tag. And I'm not an expert on these, but I think that stood for CL Best. So, Best Tractor combined with Holt to make Caterpillar. I keep treating this thing like a baby. It just took a couple of good whacks. There we go. The whole thing needs to come forward a little bit more. I'm going to unfold this lock and see if I can get that nut off of here. I can see right here that somebody's already hit this with a chisel to try and turn that nut. Looks like somebody else has already used a pipe wrench on this as well. And that's about all I have that can fit it. So let me see what I can do. This method wasn't my first choice. The big 36-inch pipe wrench on that nut. Holding it back here with a big long bar and a couple of bolts in the back of the crank. Again, not my first idea or best idea, but I need something to hold it. Let's try this on for size. Gonna tip the engine over.
Well, I can help with that.
Oh, that ain't budging it.
It's gonna need heat.
Yeah, we're gonna have to heat that nut up. That broke it loose.
I'm telling you, the hammer trick works every time.
Look at that.
Hammers, baby.
We broke a lot of hydraulic fittings that way.
A lot of water pipes.
Yeah,
too.
rusted water lines. Nice. Should just be this lock washer on here now. Yep. Okay, our fold over lock. Let's see if I can find a puller and pull that thing off. It's a straight shaft too, so it's gonna pull hard the whole way.
Did it move?
I think so. I wish I'd have got it on camera, but within about 15-20 seconds of heating this with the acetylene torch, it popped off, and it popped off very violently. But it's free, and we can move on. I don't have that gear completely off there, but it's broke loose enough that I can get this front cover off. There it is. It's amazing how tall and skinny that this engine actually is. Got a little more to do in here. I'd like to get that crank out of there. We got that gear off about halfway, but it's stuck again.
Now over here. Or there, either way.
Alright, enough heat, I think. It's not budging. Well, the plan now is to forget about this, turn the engine over on its side, and see if we can pull the crank out of the bottom and get this off later. Maybe we can get it in a press. I'm going to go ahead and get these oil filter housing bolt studs out of here. Now that I've heated these studs with the, I don't even know what you call that tool, I'm going to just try the double nut trick to get them out. And look at that, working like a charm.
See if that moves. No.
Well, we are really batting 1,000 today. Cleaner's back cleaning. We're cleaning up the floor around here. We're going to roll this over and see if we can get the crankshaft out of the bottom. We might just leave those studs in there. As long as we don't damage them, I think they'll be fine. We did give it a try. I even heated these. We're reluctant to actually put a stud tool on here and have problems with marring up the studs and the head not slipping on nicely. So rather than do that, we're going to leave it be. Sorry we did this while you weren't looking, but we went ahead and flipped this block over on its side here, and we're going to get this crank out of here from the bottom before we move on. It's getting dingy outside, so it's getting dark in the shop here. We've got some weather moving in. But right now we're going to get some plastic gauge out and put number 2 back on here just for giggles, see where it's at. We have a feeling that it's probably going to be worn, but it's not like we can get new bearings anyway, so we're probably just going to put it back together and run it. But we want to get this out and clean it up. We've moved this gear forward. I had to get it forward enough that I could get this front cover off of here so that it would come back past this cam journal right here, and I could get that off. We've still not been able to get this to budge any further. That crank slides back and forth now. I'm almost wondering if this brass bushing up here behind that gear is the thrust bearing. I'm not really sure.
The center main bearing takes the in thrust of the crankshaft.
Okay.
Except, note, on machines built before serial number 7J2813, which is about 1940-41,
yeah.
4G is built before, the in thrust is taken by a thrust plate and washer at the front end of the crankshaft.
Yep, so when we pulled that pulley, that's what that did.
Yes.
That's what I'd figured. Right now I'm going to get these cotter keys out of these castle nuts so we can take the rest of these apart. Dad's cleaning that off for some plastic gauge. We're just going to do this for the heck of it, just so we know what we've got.
Well, it really should be turned upside down so that
it should.
The weight of the crank is away, but
yeah.
This will give us an idea.
Yeah, yeah. We're kind of thinking that this is probably a little too small, and I probably need the bigger plastic gauge, but we're going to give this a go. Pretty light stuff. I'm going to stick a little grease on there just to hold it in place.
I don't think that's even going to mash.
Probably not. I got this centered as best as I could, and we're going to give it a try. Here's number 2, and the word cap goes towards the front of the engine. These are 1 1/8 inches. The book says 120. I'm going to put about 100 on here. See where we're at. That's not very much.
When we go back together, we'll go the full 120.
Yeah.
For now.
Okay.
All right.
Let's take them off.
I'll bet it didn't even.
I'll bet it didn't mash it.
I'll bet it didn't touch it.
I feel like we just wasted our time with the plastic gauge, but we'll see.
There it is. I got it.
I don't think it mashed it at all. A little bit, maybe. This plastic gauge goes up to 6/1000, and yeah, we definitely have more than that. It does appear that it actually has started touching it, so I wish we'd had some that went from 5 to 12, like Dad was just saying, that we actually could have told. We definitely have more than 6. This is breaking them. Guessing our first step is take these 2 hex bolts out. There's one there and one down here. They're not very tight. That one's not. Oh, it's coming loose. That's a 5/16 hex.
It says the other main bearing caps are recessed to permit the use of a pry bar if they are offering resistance in removal.
I don't know about you, but I hate using a pry bar on anything in an engine.
Yeah, I do too.
But if I was out in the middle of a field in the dirt doing this, I'd probably grab the pry bar. Okay. Here's the bottom one. We'll put some Loctite on those when we go back in. That's a hex wrench. Don't see a lot of those around in this time frame. You can see right there, there's the edge of a rope gasket that sits in there, and I have a new one, and the way that works is there's a groove in there, and you soak it in oil and then install it, and there's the other end of it down below that bolt hole. We've tapped on this with brass hammers a little bit, side to side gently, and it's moving. Dad's going to keep tapping on it to loosen it up. Well, we're getting this crank to move. It's budged a little bit. I don't have a puller, and I don't have the threads to go into here. I've actually just tapped on the end of this crankshaft over here with my dead blow lightly, and the same on the front side, and it's moving.
Yeah, it has moved. Yeah, there it goes.
Dad's going to keep some pressure on there to keep it tight up against the crankshaft while I hit it on each end. We know this is a terrible way to do this. We know this is the wrong way to do this and the worst way to do this. But it's working, and we don't have the right tools to pull this. And yes, I could make one, but I don't have any stock in here that are the same threads. In fact, I can't figure out what threads these are. We got it back quite a ways. We just pulled off cap number 4. Dad's holding it right here. And nothing we didn't expect, really.
No.
But it's looking like our back one back here is not looking like it's in very good shape.
I can see a chip out of it.
Yeah.
And we didn't do it.
No. We've been tapping it back and forth a little bit with some brass hammers and hitting it and trying to move it. I've gotten a sneak peek of that bearing back there, folks, and it does not look good.
It's about there.
Looks like the front needs to come.
Does it?
Yeah, that's too much. Something's holding us in the middle there, perhaps?
You know what? I'll probably have to take...
Yeah, take our bearing off. That's what's holding us.
It is. It's out, practically out. Man, they don't have these where you can grab them.
No, they're kind of hard to get. You're getting it, though. It's moving.
You almost got it.
That bearing don't look so much better either.
Lay it up here, just like you got it.
Scoring, where? That doesn't look good. We are finally getting some rain. It's coming with a lot of dust and wind. Dad's pumping away on the crane here. We want to support this crank. We got everything out from here out, and we still got to finish this one, but when that breaks loose,
whoa,
we don't want that crank to fall on the floor.
Unfortunately.
You're all right. We're good. Got it?
Yeah.
Is it going?
Hit it again. Yeah. Yeah.
Still going?
Yeah, yeah. It's only got 3/4 of an inch to go and it'll be out. One more. There it is.
Well, we got this cleaned up, and Dad, what do you want to show us?
Well, this bearing's completely trash. There's no way. If you look, this has already started to come out, but look clear back up in here. You can see where it's almost clear through this bearing. It's about to fail and come apart. That Babbitt material, see in all these areas here. Here's a piece ready to come out.
Yeah.
And it's done for.
We need that rear main bearing. I don't know what we're going to do. These are unobtainium. I do want to thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
Well, I don't want you to yell at me because your floor got dirty.
Oh, you already got it pretty dirty.
Well, I'm trying to be nice here, man.